Wall Street is trading under negative market sentiment. Investors are speculating on the prospects of the global economy that dampen confidence. Macroeconomic data from the US and Canada is on investors' radars today. The US dollar is extending its climb across the board, which could signal the end of a multi-week losing streak. The Nasdaq is making a downward correction after it closed at record highs yesterday. Likewise, futures on the S&P 500 were 0.4% down in the early New York trade at 3,367.62. Besides, futures on the Dow Jones went down to 27,499. In other words, the Dow Jones is moving away from the level of 28,000 that was tested last week. The Dow is now 6% lower than the strongest level of February. Bearing in mind the opposite correlation between the stock market and the US dollar, the greenback might be gaining momentum. Today, investors found out that the composite PMI for the Eurozone, comprising the manufacturing and service sectors, sank unexpectedly in August. In response, European exchange floors shed 1% on average. That also impacted on the benchmark US stock indices. The current economic conditions in the US overshadow the outlook. Today, market participants are alert to a series of economic data. Existing home sales in the US jumped to an annual rate of 5,860,000 in July, stronger than in the previous month and better than expected. The US dollar perked up against the basket of major currencies on Friday. Its index rose over 0.5% to trade at 93.30. The greenback seems to have halted a protracted losing streak. It could close this week with gains for the first time over 8 weeks. Now traders are revising their sentiment on the US dollar as the Fed avoided comments on further moves in monetary policy. Besides, the regulator dropped plans to control the yield curve of treasuries. Another catalyst for the dollar's uptrend could be extra fiscal stimulus. The US Congress is expected to agree on its size next week. Traders speculating on the loonie are evaluating Canada's retail sales, which surpassed expectations. The indicator skyrocketed by 15.7% in June on month. An increase in retail sales is bullish for the Canadian dollar. Oddly enough, the loonie hardly responds to upbeat economic data. At present, the US dollar and the state of affairs in the US economy are setting the tone for the currency pair. The dollar versus loonie pair reversed upwards and touched 1.3216 amid the recovery of the greenback. Analysts say the pair is likely to follow the overall downtrend. Being the commodity currency, the Canadian dollar finds solid support from oil prices, which have grown notably since a historic slump in March. In the meantime, the oil market is making a downward correction. WTI lost 2%, but buyers are struggling for the level of $42 a barrel. Bitcoin has not been able to hold at the level above $12,000 that was conquered earlier this week. Nevertheless, the correction is not so deep to push the cryptocurrency down below 11,500. Bitcoin has been consolidating at near $11,700 for the last 3 sessions. The number one cryptocurrency is taking the lead in terms of capitalization. At the same time, its price is lower than other less popular cryptocurrencies. This could be a worrisome sign for the Bitcoin. On the other hand, new digital currencies serve as the best advertisement for the crypto industry. If new tokens do not come to investors' expectations, they will shift focus back towards the time-proven Bitcoin. And that's all for today. Thank you for watching. We wish you a nice weekend and see you back on Monday. Bye.